where he is teaching in the Department of English. I may also add he is a great lover and promoter of classical Carnatic music. Mr. K.V. Ragapati.
I'm not mad here, sitting among all living poets. I must apologize to the organizers and the audience because I was not present here in the first session as my name was called here. I was sitting in the other parallel session. I didn't know that, and therefore this kind of intrusion. And I hope I'm not an intruder here. No, right? Yeah. Yes. Right. I'll read this first poem of my latest collection, Often and Other Poems. Often. When the mother leaves, the child's world falls apart like a broken-winged bird from the sky. I'm sorry, we are parting upset. The note said on his chest, his boy's body hanging from a neem tree like a dry fish in the filtered sunlight. Frustrated with his mother, who met another man in a faraway land, never returned like a fairy woman. He chose the path after his pained efforts, broke like an adorned vase on the marble floor, to prevent his mother from migrating like a bird in search of El Dorado. You don't have to worry about my funeral, the note in his pocket screamed, because a man owes us money for timber. My sister, you should study hard, not to feel like mother. Mom, you should take care of yourself, because you are caught in Maya. Please take care of my puppy, the only loser, and love. That's my second poem I wrote, after finding a little child abandoned in the dustbin by a woman who has just delivered a baby. The title of the poem is Bud in the Bin. The other day, under the slanted sun, peeping through the faded houses, I found a half-eaten babe, lay half-buried in the half-baked bin of leftover like half-eaten banana leaf. It takes, I'm told, 9 months to bud, 19 years to flower, 40 years to stay in bloom, and 60 years to ripen and fall. But for this unknown deranged woman, she drank of emotion in cups and tore off the petals before unfurling. She must have cast off her half-body in haste, in protest against erring gods for making life gender construct. A passerby picked up and buried in compassion and planted 1,000 saplings around the township in protest against the erring woman for making life deconstruct. Yes. That's a poem, a bit humorous. A room in a hotel. I wrote this poem after attending Jaipur Literary Festival. I was given a small room in a hotel. It was shared by me and another writer. A very small room. In the tiny room that measures 8 by 8 feet, in a hotel located on the crossroads in the aging pink city, sandwiched by multi-hued shops, I landed to attend a conference. A cot with masturbated matrix covered with white cotton sheet occupies 6 by 4 feet. A mucky, overused stool 1 by 1 foot and a teapot 1 by 1 foot, leaving a little space for me to stand and move. Perhaps the tiniest room I have ever occupied in my trips. It's no room at all to stay. Yet it is a room the proprietor calls it so. It exists in real sense on the third floor. Nothing else is there except the foul smell that emanates from the mutilated leftovers, the dampened walls, and the half-closed, unclean toilet. I hate to sit and sleep there, yet I have to sit and sleep there, as my small purse restricts my long desire. It isn't a room to stay, yet it is called a room in strict business sense. What a contrast to the unoccupied, unlimited land outside. I should stay, there is no option in this much morally decrepit world. Sometimes I sit, and sometimes I stand, sometimes I lie listlessly. It brings me no native comforts. Just then another visitor arrives with a stooping head and unshaven beard, covered with a grey muffler and a brown sick suitcase, dangling in his right hand like a over-ripened mango. I am Pandey from Benares. I am allotted this room to share. It's not a room to share, I peeved. Doesn't matter, I can share. It's only for 2 nights. I can adjust. My budget too is small as yours. But I know 2 persons can't share. And if we do, our 2 ways of life will not become one. Our pasts are different, though our present is the same. If he is inside, I am outside. If I am inside, he is outside. Only at night we sleep together, conscious of unmarked boundary. But our dreams will never meet because our life is different. Our experiences are opposite. So this is a one-man room. We share the long, tedious introduction, yet we haven't become one because this room is for one and not for 2. We penetrate into each other's past, breaking our long silence over pale tea in the cold weather. Yet we are not warm and one, though 2 persons can share out of necessity. Slowly, our conversation winds into politics and the academic world, unconscious of geographical boundaries. We giggle, we laugh, we protest, we argue, yet we haven't become one because this room is for one. Well, I haven't completed. The 2 persons can sleep on the same cot with no boundaries. The following day we become closer, moving together around the city, sharing the back seat in an auto, a table in a restaurant, the lawns in front of the conference hall, yet we are not one. Because the room is for one. Our body and color is different. Our mind makeup is asymmetrical. The time has come at last for parting. He leaves much earlier with a sack of memories. I part with a pack full to pen in poetry. The room is left empty with no trace of footprints, except the persisting nauseating smell emanating from the empty bottles, crumbed papers, and decomposed food. It is a room for one in this vast world, and not for 2. I live with no cheer and regret, because the world is like that.
Short. Let's go ahead.
This is Nagamani. The title of the poem is I have explored the myth in this poem. There is a belief, a strong belief in the villages that cobras possess diamonds in their heads. And if one has it, one can get magical powers. And with magical powers, you can even capture Prime Minister post and Chief Minister post, etc., etc. So I wrote this poem on seeing an old woman, a middle-aged woman, selling this Nagamani, bluffing the public. Under the harmless mid-sun in winter, away from the crossroads between the 2 empty, unused, dusted trucks, A coffee-colored woman in a maroon sari slit the head of a cobra to remove what she claimed to be the precious Nagamani. It wriggled in her fist like a fish on the sand. The stone as a pearl in her blood-smeared hand sparkled as she rotated it, as motley group of passers-by hemmed around, watching the reflected dancing rays. Her monosyllabic expressions mixed with the traffic noise went flying like arrows. When a snake bites, place this stone on the wound and watch it change color as the venom gets sucked out. Save the life of near and dear. It costs just rupees 300. It's Nagamani, invaluable to possess. You can test it, hold this and see the snake retracting. The irrational crowd seemed unconvinced but astonished when the snake quickly slid into the sack like a little rabbit as soon as the Nagamani was waved in front of it, prompting an irrational Siva, a 25-year-old youth of one town, to buy it after a little haggling for rupees 200. Snakes do not have any stones, neither on the head nor on the hood. Snake charmers slit the head and put some non-genuine stones before they make feats in front of the public. So said one middle-aged rationalist in the group, rubbishing the claims in the din of dogs barking. Siva himself is skeptical about the magical powers of his possession, yet he blurted out like an innocent convicted, "I believe in mythology and snake tales, so I bought it." Poor woman made her words felt like a little girl. What do? I have 5 children to feed. It is a trick of trade for survival. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Raghupati. I will now call on Preeti Ayasola. Preeti was a student of English literature at the University of Hyderabad.